and were soon surrounded.
A lot of the area that the Allied troops were holding was actually quite exposed and dangerous. And in fact, if we look at this photograph, you can get an idea of just how dangerous it was. So you can see the pock marks from shells and from bombs bursting. You can actually even see an explosion in the distance here. And you get an appreciation of the fact that these men lived in constant danger 24 hours of the day.
Somewhere
around here. And to give you an idea of what the conditions were like here, the photograph of a slit trench, or as the Americans called it, a foxhole. It's 7 feet deep and it's almost the dimensions of a grave. And some of these slit trenches tragically became the graves of the soldiers.
Is this the sort of thing my granddad would have been in or around at the time?
Yes, he would have lived in one of these, somewhere close to his Bofors 40mm gun. So he's living in there, he's sleeping in there, because there's literally nowhere safe in this area. You can be shelled, you can be bombed. The Germans have two huge railway guns, which the Allies called Anzio Annie and the Anzio Express. The Germans called them Leopold and Robert. 280mm shells. And these guns could actually fire to a distance of 36 miles. So literally from almost in the city of Rome, they could land a shell here where we are.
So some guy sitting in a gun in Rome could be shooting at the guy sitting at here?
Yes.
You're kidding me?
I kid you not.
Norman found himself in the middle of a brutal battle of attrition, not unlike the fighting in World War I. Living in trenches or foxholes, in boggy, wet conditions, continually bombarded, with high casualty rates. There was nowhere to retreat, except back to the sea, and no ships there to rescue them. The British fleet had been sent north to prepare for the Normandy landings. Stuck with his gun and surrounded on all sides, there was no respite for Norman, who feared for his life 24 hours a day.
In Tunisia, there was a line of retreat. They could fall back. In Anzio, they have to stay where they are. They hold their ground, or they become prisoners of war, or they die. And the siege lasted until the end of May of 1944.
For months, you say, they were here, couldn't move.
Yes.
It's interesting because when my granddad came back from the war, he developed this tick, this nervous tick on it, predominantly around his face. And that lasted for the rest of his life. And it was from the war. And they called it shell shock. What is shell shock?
Shell shock is a range of psychological conditions. Today we class them as post-traumatic stress. And it's literally that constant living with fear of being killed or of being injured. And it's something that is just going on day after day, hour after hour. There is literally no escape from it in this area. And that tick is probably his subconscious still reacting to aircraft sounds and memories being triggered. Not even the best trained psychologist, unless he's been out there and seen it happen and endured it, can understand what these men have gone through.